After 2 years of keeping silent, Armie Hammer finally spoke about the massive accusations against him, and he accepted he had some faults. Armie Hammer believes he may have been very ruthless with the women he dated in the past, but he's no violator of their bodies. These accusations started in 2021, as a woman revealed many dark details about the relations she used to have with the actor, giving fans a new perspective on Armie's personality. And Armie doesn't deny any of the actions. He admits he uses and dumps women, but their dynamic interaction was consensual, as he didn't take anything by force. In his own words, he said, "I'm here to own my mistakes, take accountability for the fact that I was selfish, that I used people to make me feel better, and when I was done, moved on." Also, the actor mentioned how he has improved over the last few months and has become a better person, which is why he can now tell his part of the story. Armie says he's now more balanced than ever, and he's also been able to become a better father to his children because he's been going through an extensive recovery process. The most revealing of the allegations against Armie came from Efrosina Angelova, fondly called Effie, who dated Armie for many years. Effie exposed what Armie's Instagram DM looks like, which involves a lot of dirty talks with ladies, but that's not all. The chats involve violation fantasies, enjoying causing pain to his partners, and he also admitted that he was 100% a savage who's into eating parts of his partner. Armie didn't deny this, but he mentioned that Effie was also actively involved in carrying out the fantasies, and he went into details on how they played out, a particular one involving Effie planning how he would stalk her and later attack her. Armie said Effie picked a Starbucks where he would first notice her before the mysterious journey began, and from there he traced her home. Effie left the front door open, and for someone playing an intruder, it was easy for Armie to sneak into her house, which they later stayed in together. And according to Armie, this particular roleplay leads them to what he would call a consensual, non-consensual scene, which means they agreed to go through this together. So it's a highly complex situation, but Armie always makes sure the ladies he does it with are aware of it, and he has never made anyone go through such a thing unexpectedly. The fascinating thing Armie included in his statement is that he understood why a woman would accuse him of that, and that's because these women might not like to have those sensual fantasies with just anyone. However, they find themselves saying yes to everything he throws at them because of who he is. He said he had a very crazy and extreme lifestyle, and was always ready to introduce any woman he met at that time to his dangerous but pleasurable world of his. Armie mentioned that dating him meant there would be lots of travel, lovemaking, and dealing with and taking lots of illegal substances. And during this moment, the women would get their emotions and expectations up, but the problem is, Armie would get bored of them and leave them to repeat the same process with another woman. And of course, he knows the woman he left would feel used and bitter against him. He explained further, saying, "I would have these younger women in their mid-20s, and I'm in my 30s. I was a successful actor at the time. They could have been happy to just be with me and would have said yes to things that maybe they wouldn't have said yes to on their own." However, there's usually no reaction without action, and Armie narrated a story from the past that may have messed him up to have crazy fantasies like that. The actor said he was violated by a youth pastor when he was just 13, and that this inappropriate situation lasted for about a year. According to Armie, that experience affected his private life and altered it very much. He said he was powerless with the pastor as a child and couldn't control what was happening to him, as he was entirely at his mercy. And for someone who went through that kind of trauma, his reaction has been to take charge of his private moments ever since he became older. And that is how Armie started to get invested in activities that involve a woman submitting to him and being in bondage, as it makes him feel the liberation Armie never felt when he was getting violated. The only difference is that he wasn't showing off his power over these women, as he ensured that they were also into that kind of stuff before taking things further with them. It wasn't just one woman who came out to accuse Armie. However, some of them only mentioned that he pressured them into performing those acts with him, and that Armie also violated their emotional needs. And it was a sad one for all of them. And also, these allegations came out about 6 months after Armie and his ex-wife divorced. So that means Armie had all of these affairs while he was still married to his ex-wife. Armie and his ex-wife Elizabeth Chambers had a rocky marriage for a long time due to his numerous affairs, until he did something his ex-wife couldn't forgive. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Armie and his family were all quarantining together and were also bonding in what could be called an expensive therapy. But Armie became desperate to travel back to the US during the delicate period, leaving his family behind, and Elizabeth wasn't happy with that. The actor mentioned that he felt trapped being locked up in a tiny space with his family as he almost lost his mind. So Armie needed to take that trip to the US even though he had other things planned. However, Armie further messed up everything because as soon as he landed in the US, the actor meant to send a nasty text probably to the person that he was meant to be meeting, but he mistakenly directed the message to his ex-wife instead. And Elizabeth filed for divorce soon after this because she's known about some of his affairs in the past, and she couldn't continue to take it after the flirty messages that she got, knowing it was intended for another woman out there. So, when the allegations against Armie started coming out, Elizabeth expressed that she was heartbroken and depressed from everything she was learning about her ex-husband. She posted on Instagram saying, "Heartbreak aside, I am listening and will continue to listen and educate myself on these delicate matters. I didn't realize how much I didn't know." Aside from the woman who came out to accuse Armie, Vanity Fair also released an article on the fall of the actor, and this article exposed the life of Armie's great-great-grandfather and the things he did with women. The write-up also continued to make a comparison between how his older generations lived to Armie's lifestyle that led to the accusations. And for Elizabeth to learn so much of Armie's past in one single article, it must have been very overwhelming, and she wouldn't stand by the wrong. And with all of these things that have happened with the actor in the past few years, he said he almost ended up in the Cayman Islands Ocean, where he usually goes to enjoy a vacation with his family. Armie dived very far into the sea after the allegations surfaced in the hope of drowning, or worse, getting into an accident with a boat, or even getting eaten by a shark. As Armie was in the water, he thought of how he could pass away until he realized that he had left his kids on the beach, and it would hurt him so much to cause that type of pain for his children. Ending it all is all Armie could think of because his life has been the shadow of his former lifestyle, and that's why he's finally speaking up. After the accusations, Armie got sacked by his talent agency. He also got dropped from many high-profile filming projects he had coming in for him, including a film with Jennifer Lopez called Shotgun Wedding. Also, an investigation started on the accusations by the Los Angeles Police Department to see if there were some facts in the allegations against the actor. However, there still needs to be an update on how far the investigation went. Still, Armie went under the radar, as he was only spotted trying to sell timeshares in the Cayman Islands after the accusations. The actor didn't deny trying to sell timeshares because he even confirmed that he tried pitching to some customers on the island. And Armie mentioned he had to do that because he's now very broke and is also owing. He could only stay afloat because his family helped him settle some legal fees. Armie is speaking up so everything can become normal again because he wants to clear his name of all the wrongdoings. Also, Armie thinks he's a victim of the woke society and cancel culture. The actor said, "The minute anyone does anything wrong, they're thrown away. There's no chance of rehabilitation, there's no chance of redemption. Someone makes mistakes and we throw them away like a broken disposable camera." Armie also mentioned that he wants to go from his low moment of his life to a more prominent career, just like his mentor, Robert Downey Jr. did. Robert was faced with many charges of dealing with illegal substances and products in the 90s, and from there he was liberated and began to grow. So Armie believes one can experience pain and growth at once, and having dealt with the pain aspect, he's looking forward to growing from here like the accusations never happened. So, what do you think of what Armie Hammer has said about the things he was accused of? Share your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching.